All right, let's try that. Let's try that again. For those of you who just saw me, I hit the button too early and I did not know. So, good morning. This is the Thursday morning fundamentals with Kier. That is me. Uh, I'm I'm together this morning. That is happening. Usually, I do the Thursday morning fundamentals, like I just said, and pretty much we just go over basic fundamentals of art and tattooing, and we have fun and learn and enjoy our morning. So, with that said, let's get started. So, I was not here last week because I was in the Philadelphia Tattoo Convention with Carter Sturdivant and Jason Leeser. And so this is just information we're going to recur from 2 weeks ago. So for those of you who continue to watch every week, we are going to go back a little bit and review Notans before we hop into Midtones. And I'm going to be truthful. I had gone through like this whole 2 weeks trying to figure out how I was going to simplify midtones for everybody's benefit. And pretty much even I stayed up until like 2 o'clock in the morning last night just being like, what am I gonna say? Because I mean it's pretty straightforward what midtones are. Everybody knows what midtones are. I'm sure you can even teach it to the youngest of youngest. So I really had to sit back and say to myself, well, why did you want to make midtones its own section? And I think it was just to really understand shape and form and to really, I guess, keep your eyes aware of the common mistakes that happen when you're shading or adding your values to your composition or shape. So I think that's really what we're going to go over, but we're going to keep this one nice and simple and sweet. You guys may be able to hop on quite early. I do like to keep actual teaching sections a good half hour to 45 minutes, but this one may be even shorter because I do just want to point out like a handful of key things before anything and then let you guys in. And this week we're going to be drawing eggs. That also took me a while to figure out what we were going to do because I was thinking to myself, well, what am I going to have them practice on? What's a good way to practice, specifically midtones? And I think eggs are great because they're not cylinders and they're not spheres. They have a longer range of midtone that you have to keep even across the way to make it look, egg-ish. So with that being said, let's have me screen share here and let's hop right into this. Also, do apologize once again that I clicked the live button about 15 minutes earlier. So it's a funny one. But let's hop into this here. And for those of you who do not join on a regular basis, the way that this kind of works is that I'll go through like a good half hour to 45 minutes where I pretty much just go over the subject that we're going to be talking about, give you some cool key notes, key pointers. And my whole aspect with this is that I'm trying to train everybody's brain to believe in themselves a little bit better with their compositions and to come up with your compositions in a much more formidable way. So that is that, and you will be able to join. Sorry, my phone is restarting. You may be able to join in through the Reinventing the Tattoo app on Google Play or the Apple Store, and I will post the Zoom link right in the comments, and you can join right through there. But if you're watching from Vimeo or YouTube, unfortunately, you cannot join unless that you have that. So go ahead and download it. It's free. It's a great community for tattooers and artists all together. It's where I met my bestest friends on the planet. So truthfully, nothing I could say bad about it. So not last week, sorry, 2 weeks ago, we had gone over Notans. So I'm going to do like a quick rundown once again of Notans so we can kind of transition into midtones from there, get everybody's brain kind of going, because I know it's sometimes can be a little difficult to grasp Notan because it's such a foreign word, or Notanizing. So brought the definition up here again. And Notan, design concept, involving the play and placement of light and dark elements as they are placed next to each other in the composition of our imagery. Okay, what a mouthful, I know. And like I said, I have all of my previous episodes on YouTube and through the Reinventing the Tattoo app, as well as if you do submit any assignments that have been from previous episodes through the Reinventing the Tattoo app and tag myself, I will go over them on here, whether they are part of the current assignment or not. I'm encouraging everybody to submit their fundamentals, whether you've been doing art for 20 years or whether you've been doing art for 2 hours. This is the fundamental of it. So, Notan in here. So we talked about this old plum piece here, and we talked about what we were really focusing on with Notan, and that is the separation between the dark and light concepts on here. Okay. So if I were to take away the underlying composition of this, I could straight up just still immediately know what this artist was trying to portray. And that is the whole point of this. Whether you are doing like a multi-valued composition or not is, you could, if you still did it in this fashion of Notan, you'd still be able to see what that outer image is, or the difference between your space and your form. Now, we had several homework assignments, which were pretty much just do these as an exercise, take away your favorite comic book artists, master studies, and go in and Notanize them yourself and get your brain trained to understanding the difference between light and dark families, which is what we did here. So I had done a handful of them. I had done a handful of them during the class, and then a few throughout, because they're hard. They don't seem that hard, and a more fundamental version of the fundamental of this is to do comic books, because you can clearly see the shapes that are being made with just that one tone, which is black. Okay. So if you really want to get your good exercise out of this, this is the best way to go about it. If you want to challenge yourself, go into the master studies. We talked about Sargent and Rembrandt. So obviously this was one of my favorite pieces from Sargent, and you can clearly see the separation between the light and the dark, okay, as just as two separate families, okay. So if I were to do that and take it away, you could still clearly understand what is happening here, okay. Yes, you cannot see the faces clearly, but that is more of a detailed factor rather than a something that you need to be worrying about now. So, as I keep mentioning it, form and shape, form and shape, form and shape. All the time I will mention form and shape because there's a difference between the two. And those two, in my opinion, are the most fundamental of fundamentals. Okay, the atom-sized version of fundamentals are form and shape. In my opinion, the only fundamentals. Anything after that is just the extension of these two terms, form and shape. Okay, so let's take this piece by piece, shall we? Form being, as you can tell, the direction of where your light is going. Okay, as you can see by the arrows here, The light is hitting that one center point and then extending outwards or downwards, which is shaping that form, right? Or forming that shape into the sphere. If we had looked at it without those directional lines, it would just be the outer shape or silhouette, okay? And what is around that silhouette or shape if it wasn't there? That's your space. That's the space that's around your background. That's the everything that doesn't have a solid to it. And without that space, you can't have shape. And without that shape, you can't have space. And that same rule applies with your form. Without shape, you can't have form. And without your form, you cannot have shape. Those two together are the yin and yang of fundamentals. So we're going to go to Bridgman, who is an amazing anatomy artist, a master of anatomy. Anybody that is into anatomy should study George Bridgman. He says, avoid all elaborate and unnecessary tones which take away from a plane appearing to be on one of four major sides. And I want you to take a minute with this and remember this quote for future reference, because we will be understanding those four major sides by the end of this section. Okay, we're breaking these sides down a little further because these are fundamental and you can apply these later on. But by the end of this, we will only be working in four major tones because in tattooing, especially, simplified images last the longest. Okay. Or I should say, simplified tones last the longest. And when we're talking about overall value, we're talking about the separation between light and dark families. Okay. A huge issue that is, seen in early artists is the fact that they don't have that separation or the knowledge of the separation between the light and dark family. And that midtone is the bridge to that dark family, but it is not a dark. Okay. As you remember, we discussed about a terminator line. Okay. And I'm going to hop around my notes a little bit. We talked about a terminator line. And that terminator line is right here if you're not too familiar. And if you had watched my sphere class a little ways back, you remember I talked about how that terminator line is the absolute cusp between the light and dark family. That's the separation right there. That is where the light is starting to not touch anymore, and where all of the light that is happening is coming from the atmosphere around it. Okay, so make sure I'm on the right layer this time. So to break that down even further, right, if we had done the same thing and took this, make sure I'm on the right brush, and started to bring that arrow down, right, the light is hitting here as shown, or let's be a little bit more accurate, here as shown, okay, curving downward, but now it's not hitting here anymore. Now anything that is being lit up is coming from the light bouncing down and back up. And that's how you get your reflected light. That's the only way you get your reflected light. That's the only way darks are lighter than black, is because of its surrounding nature in it. Okay? So keep that in mind when you make a composition. Which side of this is light hitting and which side of this is the light bouncing off of? Because there is a clear difference in selection of value and overall form of your shape. Okay? And I'm moving closer so you can understand form and shape. So for fundamental purposes, right, we'll call these three midtones for the scale that is provided. And the reason why I kind of am going about that is because, and this is not quite a fundamental, but we will get to this, is the selection of your values. But that only comes when you are fully aware of the value scale you are, usually presented with, which ranges usually from 1 to 10. But your middle ground is just the middle bridge between the light and that terminator line. Okay, make sure, please, please, please write this down. Keep that in mind because it is important. Put it on a sticky note and stick it to the wall. Okay, your midtone is only the bridge between your light and your terminator line. Okay, respect that. And trust me, your art will respect you back for it. But for this purposes, like I said, we'll worry about these three tones, okay? Because that is the bridge into the darks, okay? And how I mentioned before, or Bridgman mentioned before, 4 major sides. Well, right now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 right now. But we'll eventually merge reflected light into dark and make that its own, because you'll understand that. But for right now, we're going to separate it so that you can understand the definitions of all. So later on, you can simplify in your own way, because that is how you learn, people. Understanding as much as you can at a fundamental level, so that way you can simplify in your own way because you already understand it. That's why you'll see artists who will go straight into finalizing a portrait sometimes with like a big pen and just do some master stuff. Like, yeah, that's cool. I'll just do this entire thing. Because they've done it so many times and they already have a basic fundamentally understanding of what they've been studying, which would be portraits or, tigers or something. Okay. So we have your highlight, your light, your midtone, which is what we're worrying about today, your reflected light, and your dark, or AO, or ambient occlusion. And if you need to take an understanding of that, it's also in spheres, and I mention it a handful of times, and I probably mention it all the time, because in my opinion, it is a fundamental, but in my opinion, it's more of like a secret clue in tattooing, especially. It's where light purely does not exist. It's your field of black. Okay. And this is a term that all artists use, ambient occlusion. Okay. But we're going to start breaking all these down. We kind of got into the darks and no tans last time, right? So we took care of highlights and darks, or AOs. And right now we're taking care of midtones. So next time we're going to be talking about lights as far as light goes, the light family, or reflected light. Okay. Myself, I like to include midtones and the light families together because it still is part of the light family, but we'll get more in depth with that next time. So I'm going to pull up a couple examples, okay? And truthfully, I was going through examples and I didn't want to find like somebody's like not well done portrait or something like that. I just decided to just make fun of myself. So this was like a portrait I've done 3 years ago. And yes, this is something I did. What is the main thing that you are witnessing throughout this besides off proportions? We're not looking at the shape of this. We're purely looking at the form. Okay. Take a second. What are you seeing? As I take a sip of my coffee. Good morning. Okay. I'll make this quite easy for you, just in case you're like, here, I don't get it. Everything is a midtone. Where's the separation? Where is it? There is none. Everything looks of one plane. And I'll give myself an olive branch with this because I didn't pick the best portrait. But even with that, you can still see more of a clear separation of midtone to darks on the left-hand side than you can on the right-hand side. Okay? This is one of the most major problems I see in very young artists, including myself. There is no understanding between the separation of light family and dark family. There's none, zero. Don't understand, okay? Because everybody gets that connotation that your reflected light is also a midtone because it's similar. Nay, nay. They're on separate sides. They live on the same street. They're just across the way. They can wave from a distance and say hello, but they are clearly different. So I'm going to pull up another one. This was a sphere I did 3 years ago. Okay. Even though there is a midtone in here, but it still is muddy. There still is not a smoother gradation. There's no understanding of the differences between light family and dark family. Okay. And if you're like, here, it's not that bad of sphere. You're right, it's not that bad, but let's amp this up for a second. How about that? Yeah. Okay. And if you're thinking to yourself, okay, well, why do you have those two little gray splotches on the bottom? Okay, well, this is going to be something that if you've been watching since the beginning, you're going to get quite annoyed of this phrase. Man, that is my lightest dark and my darkest light. And although my eyes are telling me that that is a much darker tone on the right or on the right hand side, it's not. I took those immediately straight from those exact spots and drew arrows from them. Okay, same thing with your reflected light. That is still part of your dark family. That is still quite a value difference. Understand that your eyes like to play tricks on you. They might like you to believe what the viewer sees, but you need to understand what artists need to see. And it's these fundamentals that you need to see so that when your eyes are playing tricks on you, you still understand what's happening. Because even though that left hand splotch and that right hand splotch up on the sphere look pretty close, they're still quite off. And there's still a complete separation. That's more of the point. There's a separation between light and dark family. So now it's a much more readable and believable sphere with that same Terminator edge. Hope everybody understands. Because I think I've explained this about like 5 times in over the course of my classes. And yeah, I think I have a feeling that everybody can start getting it now. And I've talked about this from the beginning as well, that I need to get into value study, and now's the time. So with that being said, I said this one was going to be quick, and I held true to that. We're drawing eggs. We're drawing eggs. I chose this egg, but only because of the hard light that's on it. If you are in the beginning courses of your artistic career, I do suggest that you pick one with a little bit more of a mid-tone, because this pretty much has it does have a mid-tone, but it's not a great gradation. It's kind of almost the same tone. But I would like you to challenge yourself, and I'm going to let everybody in on Zoom because yeah. And that's what we're gonna do. All right, let me make sure I'm putting it into the right zoom. Bum 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 bum. All right, here we go. All right, I'm putting on the Zoom, and I'm gonna not screen share anymore because I don't think I had drawn that egg last night, but I don't think I'm gonna do it in that manner. So I think I'm just gonna do it. In my opinion, you could get and study values a little bit better when you do it in graphite, because I think you can get a nice control of your mid-tone gradient from just understanding from a graphite perspective. And I know I'm not explaining that portion of it very well, but I hope I'm reading through a little bit. So let me do that. Oh, I can just do it this way. I have two computers up, so I'm trying to get it to you guys the fastest way, and this is definitely the fastest. And this gives you guys an opportunity to look at your eggs. Took me a second to find a good egg reference, not gonna lie. But truthfully, what I could do too is you guys can go grab eggs out of your fridge, put a nice light on it. Since Guy has been doing still lifes this month. He did last month too, but that was for more anatomy. I think that would be fun. I had eggs this morning. All right, the Zoom link is up and rolling. Feel free to join in. Say hello. Stop me from talking to myself. And from there, I'm gonna get on in here. Welcome to the stage, Kyle. Hello, Kyle.
Hello.
Hey, man. How's it going?
Going all right. How about yourself?
Yeah, it's going well. I hate having to focus on technological things at the very same time.
You're good. Don't even worry. I'm still trying to find a good egg.
Right? Aren't they hard to find? Because you're like, Kier just taught me how to look for a good reference photo, and none of these are good.
Well, the issue is when I search egg, only like 1 in 20 of them are actually just a picture of an egg.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, you get like the cooked egg? That's funny.
Yeah, and like all sorts of other stuff as well.
That's so funny. Let's see. Yes, I think I'm gonna do this. I have my whatchamacallit? Darker sketch pad with me. So my toned paper, that's what I'm looking for. That's the word, Jesus. So I think we're gonna do it in that fashion. Because I don't know if it's just me or if it's also you, Kyle, but when I do any sort of like value study on Procreate, it always takes a little bit longer and more of like a painterly blend rather than using like a graphite pencil. Like I feel it's much easier to use or to do value studies with graphite. How do you feel?
A little bit, yeah. So you get a little bit more control over that range.
Yeah, yes, exactly. A little bit more control over range. Yeah, and we got a comment on here that says, should I draw an egg too? Yeah, man. This is for everybody. Draw an egg. Draw eggs every day. And this will be a nice introduction into reflected light because I just want to see how everybody does with a more single tone to mid-tone and reflected light and applying their lightest dark into their darkest light because I'm teaching you guys many things without you realizing it.
2 in 1.
Yeah, 2 in 1. And then you'll start doing stuff and you'll be like, wow, I didn't even know I could. Be like, yeah, man, you could do it the entire time. Congrats. Let's see. And the same person said, thank you for the wisdom. You're welcome. I don't know if I'd call it wisdom, but I appreciate it. All right. So how's life been, Kyle? You haven't been with us in a little bit.
Yeah, things have been a little busy the past couple of weeks, but they're starting to lighten up a bit. So here I am.
Yeah, I understand that. I have. Oh man, this month isn't so crazy, even though I just came back from Philly. But next month is like, oh gosh, like October is gonna be so busy. It's insane.
I bet.
Yeah, we got the Paradise BYOB thing. I have a friend coming up in North Carolina during the same event. I'm going to Boston for a couple times.
Oh, wow.
With my mother, and then with my roommate, we're gonna go do like that immersive Van Gogh museum. So
There you go. That'll be fun.
And then I got some things later on in the month, and then Halloween. Like you have to do something for Halloween.
Of course. Got yourself jam packed over there.
Yeah. I never thought in my entire life that I would ever be this busy, but I actually really enjoy it. Or I should say, be this busy and actually like it.
Right.
That's the important part of it. Is that you
There's something slightly calming about controlled chaos.
controlled chaos, exactly. It's like doing watercolor. It's very controlled chaos.
Yeah.
Let's see. And today I'm tattooing a bowl of ramen. It's gonna be super fun.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm quite excited for it. I have been drawing it up for a little bit, and he initially wanted it on the side of his neck, and I was like, we're not gonna do it there. I'm like, trust me, like how much of it do you want it on your neck for a reason, or how much do you want like just your neck tattooed? Because me too, but I'm also remembering that it's on my neck. So anything that's like visible without try, in my opinion, should be thought of thoroughly.
Yeah.
So I just asked him that, and he was like, "You're right. I just want my neck tattooed." I was like, "Me too. Like, I really do." But let's pick a spot where you're comfortable with it, even in like 5 years. If you're like, "Oh man, I wish I didn't put this here because I now want this thing." So he was like, "Wow, I really appreciate that." I'm like, "No problem, man. Let's pick somewhere else."
That's what our job's all about, right?
Yep. Educating the public to better tattoos and better decisions. Because I'd rather do that than have him, regret it or just want to have it placed somewhere else. And then I'd be like, well, I was going to say that, but I'm like, why didn't you say
it? Yeah.
But we bought a bunch of new raw pigments to help out with this palette. So I'm very excited. Lots of muted tones that I like, which I really appreciate from Raw's company. They have a lot of saturated muted tones, even though that's an oxymoron, but I feel like I say a lot of oxymorons. But I decided that maybe an egg would be a little bit more simpler for everybody to start off on. Because it gives you some trickiness for sure. And when I'm drawing like anything, and I start to add my form, I'll pretty much scumble in my Terminator line quite early, so I already tell myself where that separation is between my light and dark family. And then I mark the highest point, or the highlight point, or central light. So that way, I'm just leaving myself some breadcrumbs in this. And I don't think I have an eraser, but that's okay. So we'll do this without an eraser. We'll go crazy person style. I'm saying good morning to everybody out there. Good morning. Good morning. Is it morning for you? I always ask this. It's not. It's like noon or something, right?
No, it's morning.
Oh, it is? Okay.
Yeah, very early morning.
Well, thanks, Kyle. Thanks for joining me at such early morning.
Of course.
I always forget that. Like, that's the thing I always forget is time zones.
Yeah.
Whenever I try and talk to you or Lauren, because I'm like, yeah, let's do this at this time. But we both mean our times. So I'd be like calling her and I'm like, oh man, I'm sorry, man. Like, but hey, in her eyes, I'm always extra early. So that's all that matters, really.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I've been working with Gabe a lot recently, and it's like I just give up on trying to do the time zone. I'm like, all right, Eastern.
Yeah, that's the cool part, is because Gabe and I are in the same time zone. So it's like, yeah, man, that's cool.
Yeah.
So I always like that. And it was nice when Amy came out here to go and meet everybody. It was quite nice. But I was hoping you were gonna make it for Jiminy Peak, but next year for sure for the
No, I'll be
Paradise
out there.
Gathering. Oh, you're going?
Yes, I am.
What? Yeah. That's what I like to hear. Absolutely.
I cannot pass this up.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Well, hot dog. Wait, you got your like flight and everything like that already?
Yeah, everything's ready.
Wow. That just made my morning. Absolutely. Heck yeah. This is gonna be super exciting. Wow, I'm quite pumped now.
Absolutely.
Well, awesome. I'm glad that I haven't really gotten like a hearsay of who's actually showing, but that's awesome. Well,
Yeah, it's just kind of dripping online to see who's going.
I kind of want to surprise and like just be like, oh man, like
Yeah.
I just saw you on the screen like a couple hours ago.
Right. And now here you are.
I will say that is probably one of the weirdest feelings, because I've never had to go through that until this year when I met Jason and Ricardo and all of them, because like we talk on Zoom all the time and through group chats and stuff, and then when we actually see each other face to face, it's like, man, like I already know you, so
Yeah. It's like a whole new experience.
You're a real person. This is weird, and I've never had long distance friends before, so it's just a different experience for sure. I don't know if you felt the same way, or if you've had long distance friends before.
Yeah, I definitely get that feeling a lot as well. After a while, it's like, do you exist? Are you sure?
Yeah. Like, are you sure you're not like trying to steal me or anything?
Part of my imagination.
Yeah, part of my imagination. Yeah. Did you find a good egg reference?
I found a couple all right ones to pick from. Probably would have just been easier to grab an egg out of the fridge.
Right? Isn't it weird how we always succumb to like Google Images rather than like, hey, you got like a dozen eggs.
Yeah.
You got all 12 to choose from.
I think the only
Choose.
stopping me there is I got a study right here that I set up that I don't want to touch and move.
Yeah, I understand that. I know I saw you get a new setup and I was like, man, he's got a nice background and stuff. And like that's what inspired me to get a new setup. So I was like, oh man, now I can huzzah, you don't have to see like
Yeah.
the background of my house. I guess.
Yeah, all it took for me was turning my desk around, but it was definitely worth it.
Don't you love when you do like a very small task that changes your room and then you stand back like really far, like you're entering your room and you're like, wow, such a difference.
Yeah.
But really you just moved like one chair.
Yeah, I like to kind of rotate and shuffle things like once a year.
Yeah. Do you think animals do that? Like, bears have their like caves and stuff. Do you think they
Yeah.
like have like, I don't like this rock here. I'm gonna push it over a little bit and now
Right.
I feel cozy.
Maybe. I've never thought about that.
Oh, that's just me then. Right? That's just Kier being Kier. Yeah. Like I always thought it was funny, and I was talking to my roommate about it this morning. And she always deals with these thoughts from me, and I was like, "Don't you think it's weird that there's thundering, but at the same time, as humans, our belly rumbles in the same manner?" And then she like looked up from her bracket. She was like, "Dude, it's 7 in the morning." And I was like, "You're right. You're right. I'm just throwing that thought out there." I'm like staring out the window.
Morning thoughts with Kier.
Morning thoughts with Kier. I should just write them all down and then like take a good 10 minutes of one episode and just go through them in like a
Just
swivel chair
stockpile them all.
and a curved pipe and just be like, have you ever thought of and just watch everybody be like, what is she on? She's off her rocker right now. But that's
Whatever
just
she's on, I'll take some.
literally like, can we legalize that? Okay, I know the dispensaries are legal out there. What the hell are they putting in theirs? It's quite weird too because one of the dispensaries that we just had opened up a drive-through.
Whoa.
It's just weird.
That is weird.
Like it's a drive-through weed store.
Yeah. I got mine delivered like the last time and I'm like, this is weird because I don't have to leave the house. It just shows up.
Yeah. And it's just like a weird transition of, when you shouldn't be buying it and when it's fine.
Yeah. Well, I remember too, a couple of years ago, they had all the stores, they had, big jars everywhere and you would just kind of pick and choose, but now it's all prepackaged and it's like watching that transition as well as like, whoa.
Mm-hmm. And before the dispensaries opened up, it was like common for everybody to work at a Dunkin' Donuts. Like that was like, I'm telling you, like if you ask anybody in Massachusetts, besides myself, I refused. Have you worked at a Dunkin' Donuts? I guarantee you they're gonna say yes.
Crazy.
Because they're so frequent in the area. Like there's one right in walking distance, and then there's another one down at the other end walking distance.
Oh, really?
And then, like on my way to work, I pass at least like 20. I'm not even joking.
That's
like,
crazy.
It's just bop, 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 like it's insane. So now that there's dispensaries open, everybody wants to work at a dispensary. Like that's cool. Who wouldn't want to do that? So now that's like the hot trend is to get a job at a dispensary, and there's so many just in my area that there's like a couple just within walking distance.
Okay, nice.
But it's a very weird transition of things because drive-through, I don't know. That's just I get to order through a speaker.
That's even weirder.
Yeah, it's just like that. Like you order through a speaker, like you would at McDonald's, and you drive
Mhm.
up and pay for it and drive away.
Must be so weird.
And they have like movie theaters and stuff they're gonna start opening. Like they're taking a lot of inspiration from Colorado, that's for sure. Let me see. Are you want to share your egg yet? Or
Yeah, I'll share what I got going on.
I got a little lopsided egg, but that's okay. Oh, hell yeah. See, there you go. All right,
Yeah.
let me pin you. Oh, let me try and figure this out. Okay.
There we go.
Okay. Can I see your reference picture? Are you able to?
If the glare would not.
You see, like, just move it like real close to the camera so that there's nothing else for it to expose on.
Oh, that's even worse. Let me figure something out here.
You can turn the brightness down too. Let's troubleshoot. Jason would be very disappointed.
There we go.
Hey, we did it. See, yeah, okay. So this is definitely why you just, highlighted why I chose an egg, because it's like pretty much a lot of mid-tone.
Yeah.
So great job by displaying your Terminator edge first. Can I see yours again?
Yes.
Okay, cool. What I like that you did is that you added that darker edge to the left-hand side. Definitely would enjoy that. I think another thing I would say is to concentrate on the bends of your egg. Okay, so let me unspotlight you for a second.
Yeah.
How do I do? Spotlight. Okay, so let me show mine. You're gonna see my keyboard. Okay, so it's something like that. So it's a little lopsided egg, but that's okay. So pretty much what you got to stay focused on is when the egg starts to like come upwards, right? And then when it starts to bend downwards, because it'll start to go this way and this way. And the light source is showing that it's going this way, but it's still going to have that bend motion going up and down as far as form goes. Right. So just keep that in mind. And even if you need to, draw like invisible contour lines to show how that egg is moving. And that in itself is going to help you position your values in a better sense. Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah.
So even if you have to take tracing paper or even do it super lightly and make those contour lines, I guarantee you're going to place your values at a much easier range. Like in mine, I don't know if you can kind of see, like I made another one here, and then another one right here, and then I have that Terminator line that goes around. All that's doing is helping me understand where all of my values need to be placed and like the barrier that I'm giving for it. Right. So I'm telling myself, this value, whether it be like a 3 or 4 on the scale, cannot go past this little point here. And then it continues down the line from there. 5, 6, can't go past here, and so on and so forth. If you train your brain to do that method, that you're going to find yourself, placing your values at a much simpler stage, I guess. Yeah. Really applying them first try. So try, if you finish this egg within this little section, try doing like 2 more. And then throughout the week, continue to do them. Even if you do it in the still life manner where you take pictures of the egg in like a dark room with one hard light on it and sit there and study it, Yeah. You can also go into Procreate and take any image you want. I would prefer a skull or another egg, and redraw or trace those contour lines or the separations of values that you see, especially in your midtones, and just practice that. So that way, when you actually do see another reference picture, your brain will immediately see those contour lines in it or their separations of shapes. And then you'll be able to apply it on your final composition much easier. Make yourself a lot less stress in the long run. Yeah. We're welcoming our good friend, the man, the myth, legend, Cardo.
Hey, Ricardo.
Hey guys, how's it going? The man, the myth, the legend, the hardly legend. He's a hard Lee legend. How you guys doing today?
We're doing good. I think we're doing all right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Making some eggs. Are you making an egg?
No, I didn't know that that's what we were doing. Sorry about that.
Oh.
Morning, Kyle. How are you?
Doing good. How about yourself?
Pretty good, man. I just got into the shop a little bit ago, but I will show you what I was kind of like sketching on this morning before I left my house.
Yeah. Let me spotlight you, and then.
Kind of got what you're talking about, just a little bit different. Playing with this little bird. Let me see if I can't get it out of the light. Okay, there you go. This little bird skull kind of thing.
Okay.
But just started it. It's about 5 minutes or so in. So just thought I started while you guys were talking about it. I just started erasing some of the highlights, and I'm getting ready to do some more Terminator Edge stuff to it here pretty quick. And,
Nice. Awesome.
with it.
Yeah, it's really
But
starting
it
to
is-
take shape there.
Thanks. And it is a lot of midtone right now. You know, there's a lot of like the same value. There's a very small few spots that have like real dark tones versus the midtone, but I like to sketch with that midtone.
Yeah, I like
know?
that. I'm
Yeah.
gonna point something out, and I just want you to hold that up while I point this out. I wanted to point out that when the difference that you can make between lights and darks as well is that in your lights is where the story is being told. So you see how in the lightest part of the skull that Ricardo drew, that's where all the conversation is happening as far as what this image is. Whereas in the darks, he has a lot of more subtle variations of shapes. Like you see within the bird and on the right hand side of the bird skull there. But that's kind of what I wanted to really point out as far as when you're trying to do a skull or any sort of other composition you want to do, just remember that anything in your lights has the most conversation happening and the most detail, where anything in your shadows has a lot of subtle variations and less shapes, more simplified happening because the light's not touching it. So you can't really see anything defined. Thank you very much, Ricardo.
You're welcome. Thanks for pointing that stuff out. That's awesome. It's cool to like, no, seriously, like sometimes, you know, being around you guys, like I've learned a lot about my own artwork, and like teaching on this thing, on this platform has done the same thing for me too. It's like, it's good, even if you don't understand what's really going on, to just put it out there and try to explain it the best you can, and then tune into these things and you start kind of seeing it yourself. You know, it's pretty cool. But thank you. Yeah, I'm going to definitely start working on some of the, that Terminator Edge, because that's definitely what helps that shape become the form, right? So
yes. And I appreciate that you draw these smaller images, because then you can practice that simplification, you know, better in that manner. It's almost forcing you to simplify, you know. Yeah,
absolutely. It's like a few little gestures and stuff like that, you know, and it really brings something to life. And man, isn't it cool how some of these like small little drawings, it's all about the gesture lines that make it so fun, you know. It's pretty neat. And I didn't realize, but yeah, cool. Thanks.
Absolutely. And would like to point out as well that when you are doing any major shape as far as an egg goes, where it's one form that you need to worry about, or one direction you need to worry about, that your gradients have to be a lot smoother. So
get off this mess back here. I started working on that skull a little bit more too. Let me show you guys real fast. Here we go. That was a fun little ride, right?
Oh, nice.
Let me see if I can't flip it around real quick. Hold on 1 second. Look at this big old mess I got of paints and stuff. There's a little painting that I was working on in my class. And there's the skull right there.
Yep, same thing.
Yeah.
That darker shaded bird on the left upper side.
Yeah.
You could honestly almost leave it like that and it would still make sense.
Right. That's the way so when I sketch, I do that quite a bit, where I just shade in a shape, like a silhouetted shape, you know what I mean? And once I start to see it come into play with each other as far as the spatial relations and stuff like that, then that's when I start taking into consideration, like adding a little bit more dark tones to these little shapes, these nuances that will help develop that form, you know? And then you start erasing out some of the highlights and such, you know what I mean? So That's kind of what I did down here in this area right here. Like I went through and just kind of made a real basic worm, kind of like curve shape and stuff like that. And you can see where I stopped using those midtones here. And then I went back through, and all I've been doing is just kind of adding some more little dark accents here and there. You know, right here, 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 here. And then doing a little bit darker than that midtone and doing those little accent lines and stuff where it looks like it's that fabric kind of falling off. Same thing here. You can see the midtones throughout the whole piece. And then I just add some little variations of just slightly darker on the value scale. So everything, same thing there. So, and I will, what I don't like about this so far, it does make sense, but what I don't like about it so far is that there's a larger gap here in between this point of the skull and this middle crow skull and to this point. So it's a little off, and it shouldn't be that rounded. So I'm gonna bring it over just a little bit more and start adding some of this like angular kind of edges to it to make it seem like it's on top of this portion here.
Are you doing that today?
No, today I'm booked. I'll be busy all day today with some tattoos and stuff like that. So I won't have time for that today. I had like a small window yesterday, about 40 minutes. So I just guzzled down some food real fast, and then I drew on that until the next appointment came in last night. So it was pretty fun. It was a nice warm up because I ended up doing some skulls and roses and stuff like that a little bit later. So
I have yet to do the skulls and roses thing, and I've really wanting to do it.
Draw it and they will come.
Oh yeah, you're right. That's you're absolutely 100% correct.
Well, just to let you know, Kira, I think you still got me on the spotlight too.
Oh Jesus, I'm sorry, Cardo.
It's okay. Just want to let you know. Hey, can you guys hear me better with these headphones?
I mean,
Yeah, I can hear you all right.
I don't really know the difference between.
Well, we've had an ongoing joke about the very first time I popped on to one of the Zoom calls that I had these headphones, and Gabe was like, "Whoa, what kind of headphones do you have on? I can hear you clear as a bell." And then since then, it's always been like hit and miss of what headphones that I got. So yesterday I went out and bought, a new pair of headphones like this. So we'll see how it works. We'll see if Gabe notices any difference. Hey, Ricardo, you got the headphones back. All right. Good job.
I can hear you clear as a bell.
Hear clear as a bell.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll pick up on that little difference.
Yeah, probably. He's great like that, man. He picks up on a lot of media nuances, you know what I mean? So
yeah, he really does.
Yeah. He's been giving me a lot of critiques with some videos that I've been making for RET, and it's been such a huge help, man.
Yeah. It was funny because I was talking to him about some Paradise stuff, and he was like, I only got like a couple minutes to talk right now, so I was like, oh, do you want me to call you? I'll call you right now. And then he just called me, and the first thing he said, he's like, I'm just letting you know that you don't have to like tell me you're gonna call me, just call me.
We're just so used to this like texting age though, aren't we?
Yeah,
isn't it crazy?
He's like, just remember, I was around before cell phones. Just
there you go.
Call me.
Yeah. Like, why would you do that? That's so what? Come on.
And I was like, oh my God. I laughed about it. And I was like, all right, Gabe, don't worry about it.
I got you, buddy. Cool. Now I know for next time.
Yep, but it's crunch time for Paradise. It's gonna be so much fun. You heard that Kyle's going?
Kyle, you're going? Sweet.
I am, yeah.
All right, dude. That's cool. Where are you gonna be coming in from?
Southern California.
Ooh, damn. What part of Southern California are you at?
I'm about an hour north of LA.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty far down there, isn't it?
Yeah, a little bit.
Where it like stays warm all year round, pretty much.
Unfortunately.
Oh, that's right, Kyle. You're gonna be cold.
Yeah, dude.
Oh man.
I'm hoping I'm prepared enough. I've been working in a freezer for a good while, so I've got a little bit of training.
Yeah. He's been, thinning out the blood.
Yeah.
Yeah, October is one of those times, and I'm sure since you live in Illinois, Carter, it's kind of the same, where October is that time where it doesn't know what it wants to do yet as far as temperature. Like
Yep.
it's like freezing cold in the morning, but then like 80
Mhm.
degrees by the end of the day.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's pretty wild.
And you're like, wait, what? So like I'm wearing a sweatshirt, but I'm gonna take it off.
You know what bugs me out the most about October is that
Mm.
the sun starts going down a lot sooner.
Yep,
And
today was the first day where we started waking up in the dark.
yep. And I was like, damn it, here we go.
And
4 hours of sunlight a day. All right. It's not that bad.
Basically.
It's not that bad, but it's pretty close to it, man. Like, I think 4 or 5 o'clock at night, it's starting to get pretty dark already.
well, it's to that point for ourselves that we go into work. Well, I wake
Oh
up
yeah.
pretty early, but we go into work, and then as soon as we leave, it's already dark, and you're like,
Yep.
oops, miss a
Yep,
whole
yep.
day.
Like I just saw it dark. Now I'm leaving and it's dark. What the heck?
Yeah, and that's where the seasonal depression comes in.
Yeah, that's a very real thing, man. It's kind of harsh. But I know a lot of people. I go to the gym quite a bit, and I know a lot of people that do the tanning thing. And I don't advocate that by any means, but they do it at least once a month, and they say it helps them out pretty much. You know what I mean? So
Oh, with the seasonal, or for like some vitamin C or whatever the hell.
yeah, vitamin D or something like that. Yeah, something like that. I wouldn't know. I've never tried it, but I've had people tell me about it. And I know they make some lamps and stuff like that that's supposed to help out with that too, but I've never done it.
Everybody that lives in Alaska has to have something, you know what I mean?
Right.
I mean, by now with today's technology, they got to have something that
You'd
helps you.
think
with
so.
that.
Yeah, I agree completely. But I think the coolest thing you can do is just go buy some warmer clothes and just go outside anyway. And just try to be active and stuff like that, and just try to go for a walk in the woods or something.
Mhm.
Just something, even if the trees are just like bare, and they're like, "What are you doing out here? It's cold." You know what I mean? And they're talking to you and telling you, "Just go back inside, dude. Go ahead and burn up my limbs, why don't you?" But
Yeah, there's some cool stuff to do around me. Do you guys ice skate?
I've tried it a couple times and I fell so many times. I couldn't get it, man. I just couldn't get it.
I've done it a couple times. It's very challenging as well.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's hard.
And if you don't do it often, you forget it, and it's like you start from scratch every time.
Yeah. And somebody goes, "It's just like riding a bicycle." You're like, "No, it's not. It's like
It's really
skating."
not.
It's not like bicycles at all. It's more like ice skating all the time. So whatever, shut up.
I have this just awful fear that my fingers are gonna get run over, so I just don't.
Yeah.
I don't do
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. You're like, yeah.
I'm just way too terrified. But we do have like a ice rink that's like within, like a quick drive distance from us, and I just think it's quite fun seeing everybody just fall on their ass. So I guess.
Yeah, seriously. And it's not just fall. Sometimes it's a flat fall, but most of the time it's like,
Yeah,
and
the
then
stumble.
you go down. Yeah, exactly, man. It's like, damn it.
Or the cling to the wall.
Yeah. Oh God,
Yeah.
I'm going down. I usually give my chiropractor a call first. I'm like, "I'm gonna go ice skating." And he's like, "All right, see you tomorrow." I'm like, "Okay." Just joking. I don't have a chiropractor.
I've always wanted to try chiropractic and see like what it does different.
Dude, it's amazing. It's amazing. And
my joints are always crackling.
oh, dude, especially us as tattoo artists, a majority of our day is sedentary. You know what I mean? So you gotta get fixed in a position, and I don't know if you've ever seen it, but a lot of us, we have to face forward and lean our arms over us and stuff. So our shoulders are always rolling over. So it's always good to go to them, and they'll kind of open you back up, like extend you a little bit. And I can use every height inch that I can, grasp. So I'm good with that.
Do you have a specific massage therapist that you go to? You have like your guy?
I haven't gone to a massage therapist in a long time. The one lady that I had, she moved away, and then she had a coworker of hers that I was going to go to, but she got pregnant and then moved away as well. So I haven't been to one in a long time. But man, the deep tissue massages are amazing. They hurt. They get you ready to get tattooed for sure. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah, those deep tissue massages are not fun, but dude, afterwards you feel like $1,000,000, man. it just opens up all your blood flow again. You feel like you can feel everything, and you can breathe better even, it's pretty wild. So if you guys can do it, I definitely suggest it, because it's one of those maintenance things that after a while of tattooing or even being in art or whatever, or even working at an office shop, man, it's good. It's beneficial for your health, dude. It really
Yeah,
is.
absolutely.
Yeah. Do you do it, Kyle?
I somewhat often. I just recently got a massage, like a short one, but even that short little bit, like working in the shoulders, it hurts, but afterwards
Yeah.
you feel a little bit better.
Yep, for sure, dude. Yeah, I love it. I couldn't, advocate it even any more than I already do. So
Yeah, the first time I got one, I was like, oh wow, I like understand what's going on with my back now.
yeah, yeah. And when they, there's that song that the shin bone's connected to the knee bone and stuff like that. Like it's entirely true, dude. Like stuff that hurts your back a lot of times is like way up here in the backs of your shoulders, or like in your lats or something like that. It's like, what, dude? What? The pain's down there. What are you doing up here? She's like, hold on, just give me a second. Like, all right.
And then it all cracks in.
Yeah. And it's like, oh my God, my back feels so much better. She's like, I told you. And sometimes it's in the back of your hamstrings and stuff like that too. And it's like, wow, man. And the way our body compensates for itself sometimes too is amazing. Like if you're having pain somewhere, it always ends up, the other parts of your body kind of come in and start strengthening and taking over. And like those other spots that are hurting actually get weaker and weaker. You know what I mean? So it just kind of is an ever going thing, like a cycle in your body. But try it out.
Your body pain managements itself. So, you're hurting more than your body's actually telling you.
Yes. Yeah. That's crazy. Right. Yeah.
Because when you're actually like hurting, it's like, hey man, like there's like an actual problem. I can't fix this.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's a thing too, like when I've heard that when you have like a problem in like one side, like Ricardo was saying, it actually is the other side of your body that's the issue. It's like weird. I've heard that. But those deep tissue ones, I know I've heard from many people that like be prepared for those, because like those aren't fun, but they're needed.
Yep. Drink lots of water afterwards, beforehand. You know what I mean? And don't worry if there's some extra air that is expelled. It's okay. They're used to it.
Are you saying this from experience?
I may or may not be saying that from experience. I'm just saying it may happen.
And out the hard way.
Ricardo tooted at the massage therapist.
I never said I cheated. I said there's air that escapes sometimes. That's all. So don't hold me to that. You guys got a busy day today?
I'm doing that bowl of ramen today.
Oh, nice, dude. That's gonna be awesome.
Yeah. So we're just gonna take it nice and easy, nice and slow. And today he's only getting line work, so today is gonna be the big focus. So take it nice and slow is what we're gonna do.
You're gonna be good. It's gonna be golden.
Yeah, I will remain nice and chill about the situation.
Yep. It's just a tattoo. You're gonna hang out and have fun.
It's just a tattoo.
It's a tattoo, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's just one of those things.
Yep, you got it.
What do you got going on today, Kyle?
My day's pretty open today. I've got a value study that I'm hoping to finish up today. Some of the school.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Somebody's giving you homework.
Are you gonna post it?
Oh, I will.
Yeah.
Here, I can show a little bit off right now as well what I have.
Oh, heck yeah. Also, love the chair.
Thank you.
Oh yeah. Is that a pretty comfortable chair?
It is, yeah. It was
Nice.
a pretty penny, but it was worth it.
Yeah, for sure. There always are.
So this guy, it's like 2 hours in.
Oh,
Killer.
Kyle.
Awesome, man.
Yeah.
You're doing such a good job.
Yeah.
Is it acrylic or?
Yeah, is it
Yeah.
acrylic?
It is acrylic.
Cool. Are you using any
All right, so-
mediums?
Yeah, I was just about to ask that. Jesus Christ, you got this, Cardo.
I'm
One more
sorry.
time, sorry.
Go ahead, Kier.
No, Cardo was asking if you're using any mediums, which is what I was gonna ask.
Oh, no, just the acrylic.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah.
Are you using the skull that's behind you?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. See, I could tell. That means you're doing a good job.
Yeah. I was surprised too, because I thought, like when we were doing before the teeth, I thought that was going to be, the worst part of it. But now I'm looking at it, I'm like, that's actually coming out the best.
Because you're hyper focused on it. That
Right.
tends to happen in paintings where you hyper focus. Well, I can speak for myself. Hyper focus on one area, and then that area ends up being like the best looking part because you're just like bringing that portion of it to completion first. So the
Yeah.
rest of it has to follow. So to me is why it always comes out, like the most worrisome part comes out the best. But do you have any more of your little egg that you're doing?
Yeah, I started a
Wanna
second
show
one
'em?
here. Show it off. Touched up that first one a little bit as well.
Okay. Yep. Okay. So you're understanding midtones for sure. Is that second one based off of that first reference photo that you had that you just showed me, or is this a new?
No, this
reference
one's a
photo?
different reference.
May I see it?
Yes, of course.
Yeah, I suppose you can. I suppose you can see it.
Let me turn down the brightness first so it doesn't glare. There we go.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, eggs are hard.
Yeah.
There's so many ways in that reference where it could turn really tricky. So I think the only thing that I would say is to take midtones easy. So like take them nice and slow. Build it because you can always continue to build, but once that's dark, like it's gonna be tough to bring that back. And
Right.
unless it's like charcoal or I guess graphite, depending how hard you're pressing on it. But this will get you trained for tattooing because once that's dark, like there's no going back.
Yeah.
Let's wait and see if this settles down, but there's not much else in that. So plus this will help get that fear out of your head because I've heard even senior artists get worried about placing dark ass values because they don't want to make it too dark, and then their tattoos start to look not as contrasted or heightened in value as it should by applying their darkest darks. Cardo, did you do any more of what you are working on?
I did. You want to see it?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. All right, let me get this. Let's see if we can see it a little better. Can you see it?
Yeah,
I'll
it's
find a good
actually
photo.
really cute.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go.
It kind of reminds me of like the mood of like one of those really fabulous birds that's like,
Hey.
yes.
Look at my tail feathers, man. Look at those things. Yeah.
Showing it off.
Yeah.
But once again, you're making the conversation happen in the lights. Good job.
Mhm. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like these little wisps things,
The wispies.
Yep, the little wisps. So thanks. Thank
You're
you.
welcome. All
Thank you
right.
there.
So let me show off mine a little here. It could get worked on a little more, but truthfully, I don't have darker pencils in my vicinity at the moment, so this will have to get finished up. Outer side, let me see. Replaced the spotlight. That's what I got going for my little egg.
All right.
Yeah.
So I'm using just a graphite pencil, and then I'm using like this creamy colored pencil just to emphasize the lighter parts of the egg and the difference between the light and the dark family, because clearly this is much darker, lighter than this side. It's a little wonky shaped, but that can be easily fixed with an eraser. But other than that, that is my egg, and that's my It's my reference for it. So we're gonna implement some hard darks once I get a larger pencil. But yeah, that's what I got going, gang. This was a fantastic session.
Mhm.
I'm very, very happy everybody could join today. I had 2 people on today. Yay, yay. I didn't have to talk to
Yay.
myself the entire time. Fabulous. Thank you both very, very much. I'm excited to see you both in October. Can't wait. That's only like 3 weeks away.
And that's like
it's
right
2
around the
now.
corner, dude. It's 2. Yeah, it's 2 weeks.
2
Yeah.
weeks. Oh my lord.
Yeah.
I know I saw a countdown for it on Instagram and I was like, oh, that's like right around the corner.
Yeah, it's like
now.
immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, well, with that said, I just want to thank once again for the millionth time. Thank everybody for coming. Thank everybody for watching. Let me double check to make sure I'm not missing any comments here from folks
From the peanut gallery.
from the peanut gallery. Atomic Injections says to you, Cardo, that your headphones do make a difference.
All right. Wait. Sweet. Thank you. Yeah, it's been real hit and miss lately. Go ahead.
No, it's I was gonna say that we were talking about the getting more vitamin D.
Mhm.
Someone said salt rock lamps help. So
Salt rock lamps. Okay. I knew there was something like that. Cool. Okay. We'll look into that. Thank you guys.
yeah, absolutely. Let me see if I have anything on reinventing. Yeah, all right, perfect. All right. Well, if anybody's out there watching wants to show their egg, feel free to post it on the Reinventing the Tattoo app, free in your app store. You can post it to the exercise group or through the community and tag me and hashtag Thursday Morning Fundamentals, and we will go over them next time when we talk about the light families of light, central light, and reflected light. Booyah.
I'm sorry, one more time. Yeah.
Booyah.
There it is.
There it is. Yep, there it is.
All right, and thank you once again to the Horsemen and the Reinventing the Tattoo crew for inspiring me every single day to make all of this fun stuff happen. I can't wait to see everybody for the Paradise BYOB. Get your tickets on paradisebyob.com, October 3rd through 6th at the Jiminy Peak in Massachusetts, my home area. So I'm going to be one hippity hoppity gal. And with that, everybody, we are going to say goodbye. Goodbye.
Peace.